While putting together the video for yesterday, I noticed that my windshield is horrendously dirty. I've got to fix that. Much better. Now that the dirt has been removed from my car, I want to talk about removing Pokemon in Pokemon Duel. Not by fusing them away, but by them getting banished in a deck. A member of my Discord, Jules MSU 5924, posted up a video of a deck that I thought was very creative. The deck that he put together kind of centers around, and it's not the typical banish where Reshiram, Zekrom. It's more of a cursed deck with Mimikyu. But the thing that I liked about it and what I thought made this super unique was his use of Popplio. If we look at Popplio, just as a reminder, I don't think I've gone over him other than touching on him when he was first released. It is a 3MP water type that is one of the Gen 7 starters, and if you'll remember, I referenced how the Gen 7 starters are significantly better than the Gen 1 starters a couple of videos ago. But if we look at it, it's got a 24 wheel slice of Sing, a 16 wheel slice of Dodge, and a 40 wheel slice of Water Gun 40. And while the 40 damage isn't all that impressive, it doesn't matter because of the ability. The ability is that it's called Balloon Trick. All the purple attacks of battle opponents of this Pokemon become misses. If we look at today's meta, there is a ton of purple in the meta. This Pokemon wrecks them all. It could have a 2 or a 1 attack like Cosmog, and it would still do just fine with all the purple out there. So what Jules did is he threw together a Mimikyu, and he also has one of the Voltorbs in there. It doesn't really come into play in this particular match, but he posted up the ID. I watched the match and I thought it was a very creative way to remove Pokemon from the game. So let's check out his match and we will go over things. So Jules MSU, his deck is on the far side of the board. You can see that his opponent opens with Leo onto the entry point. I don't know why. I don't know why you wouldn't open with Coco, but that was the option that he chose. He brings Gengar down, and honestly, I don't even know if it has the Mega Gengar evolution in it. I assume it probably does. And from there, we just continue to set up a board as most games typically go. Now out comes the Mimikyu. If you don't remember, Mimikyu has the Disguise ability where once it gets knocked out the first time, it doesn't really count. It's the second time that it gets knocked out that it can actually get knocked out. Very important, makes it a rather annoying figure, quite honestly. And out comes Popplio, fronted up against Gengar, which has a ton of purple. Very good placement, and it's really not difficult to find an opponent's Pokemon to put Popplio up against. There are very few decks being run today that don't have a heavy purple attacker in them. And in fact, the makeup of a good deck has a strong purple attacker as one of its ways of knocking out your Pokemon. This is about all that you're going to see from the Voltorb. It's going to evolve to Electrode off of the evolution, the explosion, and I don't think it comes back out of the PC. Jules moves over Coco to front up against Zapdos, rolls a melee wish, goes back to cover his goal, and this is when it starts getting good. Maybe one more turn. So now we have Curse. You can kind of see where this is going. Now Curse on Tapu Koko isn't a huge deal as far as Popplio is concerned because there is no purple. But once your figure is cursed, you have to play significantly more cautious than you would previously, because once that Pokemon is knocked out, it's banished unless you have a scoop up. So you need to be careful and protect against him getting knocked out. And with Coco being such a weak figure, that's going to be difficult to do. As I mentioned before, the huge purple, and then without fear, just goes and attacks straight into Lunala with half of a wheel of a miss. Now Jules gets pretty lucky here that he rolled the dodge into Lunala's physical attack. And he makes a pretty good move there to try to get rid of Popplio. Jules is going to move Mimikyu down. And now here is where Jules' opponent makes a huge mistake. He's threatening to surround Coco, and he didn't move him out of the way. You've got to be a lot more careful when you have a cursed Pokemon than that. He gets surrounded and gets banished. And you know, things aren't looking good here for Jules' opponent. And again, the curse marker. Now this is a level 10 Mimikyu, so curse is going to be 29 slice. Actually, Banette's curse wheel slice is larger, but I think with Mimikyu's disguise, it makes it a better option. Sing gets respun because you don't want to put Lunala to sleep, because then he will... I'm not sure if he removes his curse marker or not when he wakes up. I know he removes status conditions, but with half of the wheel being a miss, he had really slim and no chance of surviving that. And now it's pretty much GG from here. Now I will say, the reason why Leo doesn't get cursed there is because Leo can only get cursed if he has like burn or paralysis or some other special condition. I believe that's the only way that he can get cursed in that situation. But it doesn't matter at that point. The game is basically over because of Jules' creativity of putting together the deck that will... And it's a longer process. If we look at the twins are attack, land your banish move, have a winning roll, GG. This takes a little more setup than that. But as you saw, if you can pair up and if you can drop that curse marker on, like, even if it would have been a Gengar would have been in severe trouble, basically completely rendering Jules' opponent's deck useless. It had so much purple in there, and by the time you get down just a couple of Pokemon, there's not a whole lot of chance for you to come back. And so while I don't like the banish mechanism as a part of the game as far as where Reshiram and Zekrom are involved, I actually don't mind banish being a part of the game when it is done the way that Jules just did it, where it takes a specific role to set up the banish, but then it's on you to counterplay around having a cursed figure. Where the twins, one bad roll can mean you're banished, you actually have to have some setup with the way that Jules did it. I really like the deck. I thought it was very creative, and that's what I love about this game right now. There are so many Pokemon that are viable, there are so many different deck builds that are viable, and you don't have to use the same 7, 8, 9 Pokemon. Yes, you're going to probably have some learning curves. You're probably going to lose a lot while you figure out what your good matchups are, but in the long run, I think you'll end up having more fun. Let me know in the comments below, what kind of banish decks have you come up with that are outside of the twins? With the electrode, that something that we never got to see there was, once a Pokemon was cursed, the electrode could have banished other Pokemon with his explosion, and you know, it just creates more win conditions, and that is the makeup of a good deck. I hope you liked today's video. I hope that you guys are enjoying the content. Be sure and check out my Discord. There is a link in the description below. As always, let me know what kind of creative decks you've come up with, and until next time.